Hey, welcome back, YouTube. I'm on the 29 Thomas bus, and just thought I'd add a little bit more to this since I'm kind of secluded on here. Sun blindingly behind me. So I was kind of getting a good explanation of the various complications of text messaging when you're swapping SIM cards around and are so poor that you can't afford to just pay for service. You're trying to figure out how to maximize these goddamn awful Obama phones. So anyway, yeah, when I pulled when Jeff pulled my SIM card out of my iPhone, that changed the setting within iMessage of hey, this phone has this phone number, and we receive text messages for this phone number. It made that functionality go away, and even upon returning that phone number back to it, and then months later, not months but weeks later, kind of figuring out the difference, learning just through trial and error about that functionality of iMessage, and going to the iMessage settings and re-enabling it. I tried to get it to identify to that phone number, but in order to get it to that functionality of that, and I must point out, like, it did this for a good solid 2 weeks after my service got shut off on that phone number. It still did just fine receiving those numbers, which of course the super weird thing for me is, of course, text messages that numbers weren't going to my phone that had that number, which wasn't a bad thing. I much prefer everything go to my iPhone. I just don't have the means to put service on it. Anyway, to re-enable that in iMessage, it does like a check to see the validity of the service utilizing that phone number, and of course it my service from Cricket, I've terminated it, so yeah, it fails that check. It tells me it can't make that check, so yeah, you can't just spoof an old number, or even a number you have on another phone with an iPhone, by going into the settings and saying, yeah, I have message, this is my phone number, use it. It doesn't work. Sure would be cool if it did, though. Actually, I was able to regain iMessage functionality, and I have one friend who does iMessage this way, and I've always wondered why it is with text messages from her, didn't show up with a phone number, they showed up with an email address. And like it took me a couple times after she messaged me of like, hey, who is this, to kind of put two and two in and recognize her name buried within the email address, and be like, okay, for some reason when she sends me a text, I just said Texas me. When she sends me a text, it comes up with that email address as opposed to her phone number. And I don't know if I ever added that to the contact, because I'm really bad at maintaining contacts, but I did, but whatever. I mean, I recognize her in the inbox. That's the important thing. And those messages stopped working. Even her messages, which were not tied to a phone number, stopped working when she, when I pulled the SIM card out. And obviously, I mean, I'm just like, why did it do it? It just, two and two came together in my mind. It did it because even though she's using that email address, she's sending it to that phone number. And as soon as I pulled my SIM card out, obviously the iMessage server, Apple server, identified that, stopped identifying, basically released that phone number, like, this isn't an iMessage number anymore. So I'm assuming, like, any message that goes through, it's trying to go through iMessage, it's sending it to, sends it to SMS, probably also sends a message to the iPhone user letting it know, it's like, hey, yeah, this guy's not an iMessage use, this phone number is no longer tied to iMessage, so you now need to send those messages SMS. I think that's what it's doing. Again, I haven't researched it. I'm just trying to put two and together from what I see actually happening. So anyway, I went through. I re-enabled it with my. I don't want to say it's my email address, to be honest. I think it's my. I don't know. It's something to do with my Apple account. My whatever you call it, my Apple account. Every iPhone user has. So that's where my contacts get magically backed up on an iPhone and other things. Yeah, it's where celebrity photos and other people's photos are backed up, and how the fappening happened. If you don't know what the fappening is, Google that, because it's a good warning as to why having Apple store all your backups of all your pictures is maybe not a good thing. Although I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoy all those pictures I got, all those private pictures I got of naked celebrities. So thanks Apple for bad network security and free celebrity porn. Anyway, so what I got sidetracked when I started explaining what happened with iMessage is what I've learned the hard way is that Google also has something like this that they've added, and they've added it since I stopped being an Android user and started being an iOS user. They've added a similar functionality to the way their text messaging works, and it's called chatting. It's just called a chat, which, wow, let's use a vague term that it doesn't, it means so many other things. But yeah, when I got my Obama phone, I couldn't understand why so often some messages just simply didn't go through, and would just for hours just not go through, and then why after I switched my phone number into my Obama phone, which of course made the phone number that the Obama phone was issued with cease to exist, why some people were still getting text messages from me, which come to find out were not text messages, they were quote unquote chats, showing as being from the phone number that I had service terminated on, or had it ceased to exist because I replaced it with my legacy phone number that I've had for like 13 years. Anyway, I'm still struggling with the chat thing on that Obama phone. If there's a way to globally disable it, I don't know. And to be honest, the main thing that keyed me up into it is as I started using my new Obama phone, there was a pop-up that asked if I wanted to enable that. And I was like, oh, that's what that is. So every now and then I get error messages revolving around this chat thing. Send us chat, send us SMS. Yeah, I don't want to send us chat, whatever that is. That's what doesn't work. It took me a long time to figure out that wasn't what was working. That was what wasn't working. So anyway, so yeah, when that pop-up happened, I was able to globally, not enable it. So it's never been enabled on my second phone. But my other Obama phone, it either came to me with it enabled, or at some point I enabled it not understanding what I was answering yes to. And I don't know where in the settings to globally disable it. I know there's a way with each individual contact to disable it for that given contact. And I've done that on quite a few of my contacts, but it's still, I don't know how to do that. I just kind of keep bumbling through where the screen where I'm text messaging a particular person, and sometimes I get lucky and I find it. So and sometimes I don't, but I don't know. It's just one of those struggles. Like once it becomes muscle memory, once I know. And it's funny because I'll ask people, "Hey, do you know how to do this on a phone?" And so often they'll say yes. And I tell you, the number one person who's done this to me the most, and I've chewed her out for it, is my daughter. I've been like, "Hey, do you know how to do very specific thing on very specific app in iOS?" She'll be like, "Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, I know how to do that." And then she starts bumbling through, just pointing, touching and clicking, and touching and clicking, and touching and clicking, trying to find it. That is not knowing how to do it. I could bumble it through and touch and click and maybe get lucky and find it. If you know how to do it, you know exactly what to push and how to get there. So don't say yes, you know how to do something when you don't. But I find many people, when you ask them if they know how to do something, they say they do, but honestly they don't. They're just confident in their ability to bumble around and find it. I think I finally broke my daughter of telling me that. But then again, I think a lot of people fear like some sort of rejection or lack of respect by answering no about knowing how to do something. And the reality is, I'd much rather somebody be honest when they don't know how to do something, and I ask them and say nope. You know, I tell you, if everybody answered a yes or no question with a simple yes or no, and then added in for additional information, if asked for additional information on their yes or the no, I would function a lot better in society. In fact, I used to have so many arguments with my ex-wife about that. Like when I would ask her a yes or no question, and I'm in a hurry to try to process whatever information necessitated me asking her that question, and then she started into some convoluted answer that was neither a yes or a no, and I just interrupt her point blank and be like, that's a yes or no question, I just really need a yes or a no. And she'd look at me like that was just the rudest thing to possibly say, but to me it's equally rude to answer a yes or no question without a yes or a no. And it's kind of funny because like after we separated, I spent a lot of time in court, not only with my cases but with other people's cases, and just kind of trying to learn more about court processes in general, and the legal process and how courts work, just to educate myself on how to defend myself in my divorce, and then some of the other legal complications that are arising out of my ex-wife's vindictive behavior. And that's something that's standard. You know, if people find that so rude to society, if you ask a yes or no question and then the person doesn't answer with a yes or no, and you just interrupt them and say, well, that's a yes or no question, I need a yes or no. But that's pretty standard operating procedure in court. An attorney will ask a witness, you know, a question that is a simple yes or no question, and you'll see that also happens in congressional hearings as well. And if the person starts to give this long-winded answer, they'll cut them point blank and like, you know, I just need a yes or a no. I love watching Ted Cruz. He's really good at doing that in congressional hearings. And now, sometimes a yes or no answer isn't simply answered with a yes or no because you don't know, and that's also an acceptable answer. I don't know, or maybe. I can hang with those. Granted, it's not as definitive an answer, but I can hang with that. That makes sense. Anyway, God, I got really sidetracked, but yeah, the main thing I was wanting to explain was what was going on with iMessage and whatever the thing is, the service that's in some, I guess, newer versions of Android called Chat. It's obviously not as well implemented as iMessage is, and from how frequently like that just simply doesn't work. I don't know if just Assurance Wireless, being the crappy shit that it is, doesn't support it, and that's why I have so much problem with it, or if it's a situation where a lot of people are still using older versions of Android that don't support it, or you've got people that get new Android phones and because it's not enabled by default, they don't enable it, or it pops up and they're like, yeah, I don't know what that is, and they click no. But it's clearly not very, at least through my experience, isn't very widely supported and accepted, and I found to be largely problematic by enabling it.
Hold on.
I just gotta love the person who decides after the bus is stopped that that's the stop they want to get out at. You know, and in defense, and Andy's unloading a bike. That's how buses get late. Yeah, we're just sitting when we could be going, so this guy cost this bus getting a green light at the 51, which would probably put it about 3 minutes behind schedule. looks like it. I can't really see with the traffic in front of me looking forward. In his defense, it can be very difficult to tell where you are when you're on a bus. I mean, there is a voice that says every stop before you come to it, but it can be very hard to hear. And if you don't know the name of every street, which I would imagine most people don't, that's not very helpful. Anyway, so I was talking about the things I need to accomplish today. I need to get to my storage and let the manager know that she needs to remove all auto pay, or I'm gonna have shit that just doesn't fly, and it's gonna create a bunch of fees for me that I don't want and complications. I'd just rather negotiate with her with trying to get her cash. Even if I don't have the cash, at least it's just me and her, and there's not a credit card trying to charge me fees for trying to fly payments with insufficient credit. So yeah, I need to catch up with her, and that needs, if not today, it needs to happen tomorrow. I've been meaning to do this. Actually, I was meaning to do that last month, but transportation to as close as my storage is, transportation there is really difficult because it's one of those things. It's only a couple miles away, but it's not in a straight line down a single bus route. And as you see in the single bus route that goes by my home, to which, destinations on that street are theoretically the easiest to get to, has horribly bad service. So for me to get to storage, well, I have one vlog where you see I failed to get there because on that instance, the bus on the 44 just drove right by me because I wasn't doing the monkey chicken waving at it as he drove by. And they just don't always stop when there's somebody sitting at the bus stop because they... Oh, I think I see another Obama phone vendor around the corner, a company called SafeLink. I wonder how many companies provide these phones. So far I've got 2, and they're both still working. So the... yeah, so that particular trip, and I was vlogging on that, the driver flew right by me. And then when I got down to Van Buren also, the Van Buren bus also only runs every 30 minutes and is not in any way at all time coordinated with the buses on the 44. So, potentially I get to Van Buren, then I have to wait another 30 minutes for the Van Buren bus to get me down there. In fact, one time I was there and I was looking to... Actually, I was looking to go someplace else. But again, the place I was looking to go to was over 2 miles away, maybe 2.5 miles away. And I used the best ride, trip planner on valleymetro.org to figure out the best way to get there. And it told me my best option was to walk 2.5 miles. Really? Because half of the year in the daytime, walking 2.5 miles is an easy way to die from heat stroke. But that's what I recommended. And let's face it, a lot of people aren't physically capable of walking 2.5 miles. So, hey, at least I'm blessed that I am. And I do think I ended up walking, come to think of it. It was just kind of like one of those, God, how can this transportation service be this bad? But yeah, so I don't know if I don't think I've ever timed it out, but it's potentially very time consuming to get from my home to where my storage is, even though it's very close, and it's literally a 5-minute drive, and it's even 10 minutes on a scooter, but to bus there, it could potentially take over an hour, most of which is just sitting waiting for the bus. And it's just far enough. It's an uncomfortable walk, and it's a time-consuming walk. Anyway, I wanted that to be my first stop, but yeah, when I arrived at 44th Street and realized the next bus was at best 20 minutes away, I decided to head to my mental health clinic. I'm going to try to meet with the vocational rehabilitation specialist, or whatever the hell her position is, the person who tries to hook unemployed, mentally ill people up with jobs. I did tell my case manager I would make an effort to get here today, so this is my effort. It's noon right now, so at least I'm getting here at a reasonably early time as opposed to my usual of like as people are wrapping up their day and trying to end their day. So hopefully this will work out. The other places I want to try to go are I want to try to go to that Amazon warehouse where I applied to do the Amazon Go driver thing. I still haven't been able to get on that website to find out what the deal is with my potential adverse background check. The website doesn't work on my phones, at least I couldn't figure it out, and so I mean, whatever the procedure I need to do to contest that or deal with that, like I don't even know what's there. You know, I wish they just simply put it in the email and not require me to go to another website that is not compatible with all mobile devices, particularly mobile devices used by the poor that desperately need those kind of jobs. But yeah, it's so yeah, I haven't been able to activate that. Now in the Amazon Flex app, it did say, and I've been talking about this in my vlogs, but I've been posting screenshots of it on, sending it to some friends and also posting it on Snapchat. It looks like it's clear to walk. These guys are gonna get a green left arrow and I'm gonna be in the way. So for feels like 20 days, the Amazon Flex app has been saying that guy has jaywalking skills that exceed mine, and I wish I had the forward-facing camera on. I found out the hard way that I can't switch cameras while I'm actively shooting video. See, I'll just stuck with this weird close-up of my face. Sorry. So the Amazon Flex app has been saying for well over 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks, it's been saying that it was waiting for my background check to clear. We will email you within 10 days. Yes, I've been well past that. Thanks for blocking the sidewalk, asshole. Way past the 10-day limit. I checked that email address that I had to create a whole new Gmail address specifically to apply for that job, which is nuts. On the bright side, I got another Gmail address, another Google account, so I've actually been making use of that, so I guess that's a plus. But yeah, there's never been an email from Amazon. Now, there have been so far 2 emails from the background check company, or maybe 3 emails from the background checking company, which is a third-party contractor. It's not Amazon. I received the one that said that they would be doing the background check, and then I received the one that said pre-adverse something that had the link as opposed to the actual information of whatever issue there is in my background check. And then when I had to create an account on their website, which I absolutely couldn't get to work, but I did manage to get logged into. I did manage to create an account. That was difficult, and I did manage to get logged in, and I did get an email confirming the creation of the account. So that's it. I still have not received an email from Amazon, and yesterday, or maybe it was the day before, I think it was yesterday, the screen, when I would open the Amazon Flex app, it would say, hey, we'll email you within 10 days with the results. That now, when I go there, at one point it had, I wish I had a screenshot of it because it just had a whole bunch of shit that just made no sense to me. And then I kind of refreshed it, and now it just says that I can hit the upper icon in the upper left corner, and it shows my shit, I gotta tie my shoe. And it shows my name, and it shows that I'm logged in. But then it also says something along the lines of you have no access to this, or something like that. So it would appear that what has happened is that I'm still logged into the app, as I've never logged out of the app, but I'm logged out of the service because apparently they've decided that I don't meet their background requirements and terminated my account. But they haven't sent me an email explaining that they've done that, which to me is insanely shitty. Anyway, I want to go down there and actually talk to a person about what the fuck is going on with that. Also, and one of my motivations to go that way is that Rob is there, and Rob is still hasn't fixed my goddamn car, but I would like to touch base with Rob about him maybe fixing the tire on my Xiaomi scooter. So last time I gave him that, he fixed that within hours. Like, that's a super easy job, I guess. I got that done quick, and I didn't even charge him for that. And then there's also the he's offered to help me with some of the computer access stuff, because not only is that issue with the Amazon driving and the Amazon Flex thing, like, he's got an actual Windows desktop computer that I can maybe log in and handle that stuff with, but he also has and he's offered to let me use that, but he's also got a good functional printer. And I don't know if I've mentioned this on my vlogs whatsoever, but I may have mentioned it briefly in passing, but I got a notice from an attorney that I'm receiving a settlement in a class action lawsuit against Lime regarding contractor versus employee status. And according to Lime's records, I was a California juicer for 3 weeks. So I'm not sure how they calculated the 3 weeks, but whatever, I'll take it. My settlement is not a lot of money. I think it's like $35 or $40. Again, I'll take it. But when I tried to take it, they emailed a link to a virtual check, digital check. Opens a thing, click this, print, and I tried to click this and print, and I didn't realize that my girlfriend's network printer doesn't work anymore, so that print job went into oblivion, and I need to try to print the check. I did send an email right after that happened to the attorney, or that there was an email, the email address in the email said, hey, send an email to this. If you have any questions, send an email to this address. And I sent an email saying, hey, I didn't get this to work. Can you mail me a check? And of course, they haven't replied whatsoever. So hope to resolve that at Rob's, because right now, even $35 would be a life changer. Anyway, I'm in the clinic. I need to go in and try to see if I can talk to this job specialist person.